Yo, what's happening, people? My name is Rudra Kush and welcome to my channel. So in the last video, we created a lead sound in the style of Anyma and Afterlife. And most of you liked that video, so I really appreciate for that. So today we are expanding on that same idea, and in this video we will be breaking down a track in the similar style. If you don't know, Anyma is a solo project of one of the two members of Tale of Us, and this duo is surely one of the hottest labels right now in the melodic techno world, and I'm actually a big fan of their work. So that is why today I decided to make a track in style of Afterlife and Tale of Us. So without wasting any time, let's just hop into it. As you can see right here, I have already prepared a track, and I'm just going to walk you through each and every single element in detail so that you can get an idea how to make a similar track. So first and most important thing in the track, the kick sound. So this is the kick that I have used. So this is one of the samples of the Production Music Live Deep Premium Volume 5, and this is the first kick. So this is how it sounds like. This is almost like a progressive house style kick, and this fits really well in the style. So in terms of processing, I have this EQ8 and it's being automated just for the intro section. And this is how the automation looks like. So as you can see right here, for the first 16 bars, this EQ is on, and right here it gets turned off. So let's have a listen. Next up, we have this shaker loop, and again, this is from the Production Music Live pack, Volume 5, and this is how it sounds like. Nothing crazy. And in terms of processing, I have just rolled off some low end and set the volume. So next, we have the snare, and this is again from the same pack, and this is how it sounds like. And in terms of processing, I have just rolled off low end and set the volume. So nothing again crazy on this one. So next up, we have this clap sound, and I have EQ'd it, and I have also applied a hall reverb to make it sound like an impact. So this is how it sounds like. And in the drop, we have few more percussions here. So first we have this hi-hat loop. Again, I have a low cut on this, and I'm also side chaining it with the kick. Moving on, we have this ride sound from the Kashmir pack, and this is how it sounds like. So this ride sound is actually giving the track a bit more energy. So now let's just hear how all the drums sounds like. Okay, let's just move on. So I have two bass sounds. So first is this one. This is a preset from Diva, Production Music Live, bass binary. And this is the MIDI for the bass. Again, this is a very simple pattern, and I have just used the root note of the song, which is F, and for the variation, I have just moved some of the notes up an octave. So in terms of processing, I have this EQ8 with a low cut, and it's being automated with the kick till 16 bars. So this is how it sounds like. So this is what we have so far. So next up, we have this bass one shot, and this is how it sounds like. In terms of processing, I have this EQ8 rolling off the low end, followed by a OTT. So we are just focusing on the mid and the high frequencies because I want the mid range of the bass to cut a little bit more through the mix. In terms of processing, I am just sending this bass track into the reverb send. Okay, moving on to this bass group, I have this UAD compressor and just for some light compression. And lastly, we have this Shaperbox 2 plugin just for the sidechain. That's it for the bass. Let's move on. So next thing I want to show you is these pad sounds, and these are playing since the beginning of the track. So it's combination of two layers. So this is the first layer. So this is the second layer. And together they sounds like this. So as you can see right here, these pads are actually setting up the whole mood of the track. And let me show you the MIDI. So 3 notes, nothing fancy. Let's just move on. So next up we have this lead sound. So this lead sound is actually coming 4 bars before the break, as it is helping us transitioning from the first drop into the break. So this is a preset sound, and this is again from the Production Music Live pack, and I have just automated this filter cutoff, and this is how it looks like. And in terms of processing, I have just a low cut, a side chain, and adjusting the volume. So this is how it sounds like. So next up we have our lead sound, and this is actually a combination of 2 layers, and this is how the first layer sounds like. And this is how the second layer sounds like. And this is the MIDI. As you can see right here, I have set the grid to 1/32. And for that typical Afterlife vibe, we have some stutter notes, just like these. So for the first layer, we have Serum. In terms of processing, first I have just a EQ rolling off the low end. So next up we have this Valhalla delay set to a ping pong mode with 1/8 delay, and I have just a touch of drive, a little bit of low cut, and the mix is set to 25%. So next on the list we have reverb, and I have used Valhalla Vintage Verb on the concert hall settings, and this is a 3-second long reverb with the 20 milliseconds of the pre-delay, and the mix is actually 100%. So we are just basically ducking the reverb with the dry signal. So basically this is just making the reverb a bit more clean in the mix. So moving on, we have this auto filter, which is being automated to introduce the lead sound. And this is how it sounds like. So moving on to the layer 2, this is the exact same lead sound which we created in the last video. So if you want, you can check out that video for this lead sound. And this is how it sounds like. So in terms of processing, I have EQ rolling off some low end, and this is the same auto filter I have copied from layer 1 with the same automation. Up next we have delay, again a ping pong delay with 20% of mix, and a hall reverb with the 15% of mix. So this is how both of the layers sound in the break. So moving on to the part B of the drop, First we have this ARP sound, which is again from Diva, and this is the sound that I'm using, and I have automated this filter cutoff. And this is the MIDI for the ARP. So in terms of processing, I have EQ8 rolling off the low end, and a compressor for sidechain, a utility to make it wide in the mix, and I have set the volume. Okay, so moving on, we have this ARP sound, which is again from Diva and the same Production Music Live pack, and this is how it sounds like. For the MIDI, this is how it looks like. Okay, moving on, we have this lead sound. Okay, let's check out the MIDI. So this is actually the same pattern from the break. So I have just moved some of the notes up in the scale to give the melody a more euphoric vibe. And this is how it sounds like. Okay, so this is a sound from Serum. In terms of processing, I have EQ8 rolling off some low end, and then we have this Valhalla delay just with 18% of the mix, and I have set it to a ping pong, followed by a Valhalla vintage verb, and this is actually a hall reverb with the 25% of mix. And this utility just controlling the volume, and this is actually, I'm not using it. Okay, moving on, we have a second layer for the same sound, and this is actually the same preset that I have used here for the layer 1, and I have just copied the same MIDI from here. And we have one more layer. This is actually a preset from Diva. This is just a plug sound. And altogether, our lead sounds like this. Okay, cool. Okay, moving on, we have this little guy here, and this is how it sounds like. So how I created it, this is actually the same lead sound, and this is just being drenched in the reverb, and I recorded it and just reversed it. And towards the end, as you can see right here, I have just chopped it up to 1/32. And in terms of processing, we have just a simple EQ with a low cut and this auto pan, and this is just being automated towards the end of the sound. So let's just move on to the effects now. And first up, we have this atmospheric sound, and this is how it sounds like. So this is the MIDI. After every second bar, I have a note on the downbeat, and this is just a preset from Serum. This is the name of the preset, and I'm again using this Production Music Live pack. And okay, in terms of processing, I have just a EQ cutting of the low end and a utility to control the volume. Moving on, we have some risers. So these kind of sound effects, these just help to transition into the next section of the song. And in terms of processing, actually there's nothing on it, just a utility to control the volume. Okay, moving on, we have this downlifter. So I have EQ rolling off the low end and a big hall reverb with the 50% of the mix and a sidechain utility to control the gain. Nothing really fancy here. Okay, moving on, we have two impact sounds. So the first one is this one, and this one is a bass drop. Up next, we have this snare build-up sound. And in terms of processing, we have just a low cut, and I actually increased 3 dB of the gain because it was quieter in the mix. And we also have this riser. Up next, we have this ambience effect, and this is how it sounds like. And in terms of processing, I have just an EQ rolling off the low end and nothing else. Up next, we have this one-shot flute sound, and I have just reversed it. And in terms of processing, I have a low cut EQ and some delay and controlling the volume. Okay, let's just move on. And lastly, we have these vocals.
The sad thing about artificial intelligence is that it lacks artifice.
Okay, so in terms of processing, we can just simply turn these off, and this is how the raw vocal sounds like.
The sad thing about artificial intelligence.
Okay, so before you ask me where I got those vocals from, so I just used a AI website. It's like a text-to-speech kind of thing where you can just input text and it will give you a voice recording, and then you can use that recording in your DAW. Okay, so in terms of processing, we have EQ8 rolling off the low end, a shifter plugin to make it a little bit more robotic, and a delay, and just controlling the volume. That's it. Last but not least, we have this sound effect. So this is from Diva. It's just a pad sound, and this is just for the ear candy in the breakdown section. And this is how it sounds like.
The sad thing about artificial intelligence.
Okay, so those were all the elements of the track, and I'm just gonna play you the whole thing one more time.
About artificial intelligence is that it lacks artifice and therefore intelligence.
yeah, alright, so that was the track, and I hope you enjoyed it and actually learned something from it. And once again, the project file is available for a free download. Link is in the description of the video. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for showing love and support to my last video, and I hope you do the same with this one also. If you have any feedback or suggestions, you can just simply leave them in the comments. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and until next time, peace. Pew.